There we go. Can everybody hear me?
Yes, thank you.
Nicole, you good?
I am, thank you.
Welcome, welcome. Sorry, we had a little hiccup trying to get us together here. No worries. We're still going to be able to complete the task at hand. Okay. All right. So first things first, before I begin, let me introduce myself. My name is Ronnie DiCarlo. I am the Market Center Tech Trainer here in the Southwest Orlando office. Some of you know me because you met with me, because you're supposed to meet with me twice. Okay. First time is to make sure all your systems are working properly. Second time is to give you free leads. Kind of, sort of, maybe. Okay. So that's why we do that. Anyway, I want to thank the people from not my market center, because those people must be on the pivot shift call with me in the mornings, or they're on the script and role play. These are the people that I love. Yes, I do. Why? Because they're my referral partners. Because when I have a referral going to Atlanta, don't tell Arthurine and don't tell anybody else in Atlanta. I'll probably send it to Nicole. Okay. In Delaware, well, don't tell Ellie, but she's in Maryland, so I can go to Delaware, Brian. And then, of course, in Houston, Texas, don't tell Chris Hurley that I'm using Gloria. Well, that's why we do it, right? For referrals, and of course, the great community that James Shaw has built for us. So anyway, today we're going to do what? The equity analysis, or 10 steps to a CMA. So if you didn't know it, that's what we call the CMA. What's a CMA? Does anybody know? What was that? What was that? Comparative market analysis. That is a generic term. What is a CMA not? Now you got to think. And don't be afraid to chime in, people out there.
It's not an appraisal.
Why? Why is it not an appraisal? Because you've been in my class before.
Only a licensed appraiser can do an appraisal.
That's one good reason. What's the next good reason?
We're not measuring, we're not taking measurements and doing all the things that a licensed appraiser does.
So you could do that with this software, with RPR. I don't encourage you, because what I'm teaching today is the quickest way to get that figure so you can work with it, because in today's market, are things getting tricky? Everybody say yes. Very good. Why is it not an appraisal? You're not licensed.
The bank is not asking us to do it.
The who?
The lender. The lender is not asking us to do it. It's not official with the lender.
That's half right. The reason I say that is there's a thing called a broker price opinion. If you've been in the business as long as I have, you've heard of them. That's how we survived in the bust. We did broker price opinions for banks. Basically, a broker price opinion is was a one-page CMA. And we used to do drive-bys. Those drive-bys paid $65 for one page, four photos. Fast forward to today, I still get requests to do BPOs. Fast forward today, the BPOs, they'll only pay you $25 for a drive-by, still 4 photos and 5 pages. If it doesn't pass their quality control, you don't get paid. And then the most unique part about, in both instances, what's the first letter? Broker. Broker, what does that mean? I got to split it with my broker, depending on what your split is. You're a Keller, 70, right? 64, 36, right? So yeah, don't do BPOs. They ain't worth it nowadays. That's what I'll say. We still didn't find out, though, why a CMA is not an appraisal. Gloria's saying something genius.
It's just an opinion of value.
Yes, even with an appraiser, it's opinion of value. Absolutely. Absolutely right. But the main reason, I'll tell you, so we can get the class moving, God bless you. The main reason that a CMA is not an appraisal, you don't pay for it. You don't pay for a CMA. And every licensed realtor will offer a CMA for what? For free. Exactly.
Right.
Shame on you, giving away free stuff. Anyway, on the call, must have happened, got to be almost, it's probably going almost on 8 months. We came up with, or James through us came up with, hey, let's call it a equity analysis, because what happened throughout the country? Is there anywhere in the country? I was even a holdout, meaning that my home was still underwater about a year ago, year and a half ago. I still was negative from what I paid for it. So I would argue with people when they say, oh, there's plenty of equity with everybody. No, there's not, because I wasn't even yet, still holding on. Okay, I only paid $225 for my home, and I still wasn't back to even. Now, if you look today, I just looked today, the Zillow says that it's worth $391. I don't believe that.
No.
I think it's floating around 350, but that's okay. Hello. Thank you. Welcome. So anyway, equity is all over the place. So today there's plenty of equity with every single solitary home. So because there is equity, guess what? We had to say something different because nobody or everybody does a CMA. But how many do an equity analysis? An equity analysis. So that's what we call it nowadays. It's called an equity analysis. And what it can do is do what? Help you get business. That was the premise behind it, was to help you get business. And as our pivot shift leader, James Shaw, has taught us, you should be doing an equity analysis for every person in your database. One a day. Just go out and do an equity analysis. I'm going to show you a quick way to do it. Also going to show you the full way to have this full-blown CMA. Okay? So those that are already taking listings, you know the power of having this. And when I first started teaching this, well, I've been following RPR for about 10 years now. So I've been with them for 10 years, knowing exactly why this is such a great tool that most agents don't use. Yeah, we got like 1.6 million in NAR, and only half use this beautiful tool that they're already paying for. And what we're going to prove today is that with one click, we're going to justify RPR's findings for the selected property. This can be used for any property in the United States of America. Anyone you want. So those of you like my friends in this room that are from Nueva York City, go look at your property back there. And I promise you, you could comp it from here. Okay? Now, disclaimer, because I found this out from teaching. Sometimes, because we're not tied into the local multiple listing service, you may not get as many comps as possible. RPR will still give you an estimated value. And then you can use the other components that I'm going to show you to justify it. And that's for out of state. But the reason I bring that up is, let's say I send a buyer to my good friend Gloria in Houston. I trust her. She knows the Houston market. I don't have a clue. All I know is that the Astros used to play there. And the Oilers. I'm showing my
The
date.
orange.
All right, so that's all I know. Anyway, I send her a well-qualified buyer that's ready to buy. They're relocating. What do you think happens when she goes out and shows them properties? What's the first thing they're going to do after they see that property?
They want to
They're
know
gonna compare it to Zillow, what Zillow has to say.
Yes, they'll do that also. And then, of course, they're going to call me and say, what do you think? Is it worth it? Okay?
and you're going to do an RPR.
And then I'm going to go on to RPR. And of course, I'm going to call Gloria and say to Gloria, look, they called me. I'm showing on RPR. I trust you. Am I reading the right comp so I can be on the same page with you so we know what's going on? Okay? That's why it's a great tool to use. All right, so let's see, before I get started in the MLS, let me put into the chat the handout that I'm doing today. So those of you that are playing along will be able to have it exactly. All right, so let's go here. And yeah. And this is the complete final updated. There we go. Okay, so I just transferred into the chat. It's called Get a CMA in 10 Steps. And before I forget, because I always forget to do this and I apologize, let me put the other materials that we'll talk about later anyway. Let's see. Yeah, this should be fine. And then finally, okay, so these are the three tools we're going to be working with today. Let's first start with the actual handout. Here it comes up. There we go, perfect. Okay. So now your MLS, if you're not in Florida, in our MLS, may look different to this. It's called Stellar MLS. It's part of the Matrix system built by CoreLogic. If you do use it, everything's going to seem familiar to you. Okay. Now, those in the room here, do you have a laptop? Are you in the MLS yet?
Yeah.
You might want to play along. You'll learn faster that way. Okay.
Okay.
You still can't get in? Broke it, didn't you? Wow. Don't know what to do with that. All right, so anyway, first things first. So you'll see, what's that? Right there. All right. All right, so first thing it says, we want to log into our MLS. This is the home page. Okay. So I'm going to switch it up and just go live through the home page and everything else because it'll be a lot easier and faster to get things done. All right, so give me a sec. I just got to get this up and running. Okay, now we should be good. All right. So I have the MLS up. We're ready to work with it. So as it says, we're just going to go basically page by page by page in the handout. So what I'm going to do, I'll walk you right through it. Yes, we are. You're on that page, right? Well, yours is a little, yours is down here. That stuff. I moved it down.
Oh, okay.
Okay?
All right.
Yes. What we're going to do is we're going to also learn how to use this beautiful tool, believe it or not. All right, so the second page of the handout says, and I quote, type in the target address, type in the target address. So for those of us that have Stella, you're gonna learn something today. You're gonna use it called the speed bar. Speed bar is right here, this right here. And you'll see, I've typed in addresses before. What I want you to learn from the speed bar, ladies, you'll love this. It's like shorthand. Less is more. The less you put in, the more you get out of it. Okay? If you don't know how to use it, the question mark throughout the whole entire multiple listing service is our best friend. Because when you click on it, it tells you exactly how to use this beautiful tool. Hold on. Sometimes Zoom, you got to do a double share. So it tells you the speed bar accepts two types, speed bar shorthand. Okay, ladies, if you ever done shorthand, you'll love it. Okay, tells you how to do it. Don't get hung up on this. What I want you to get out of this, though, is less is more. Less is more. That's the key to the puzzle. So what do I mean by that? So for us today, in the shorthand bar, we are going to type in an address. The address is 16723 Sunrise. And that's it. Hit the enter key. On Mac, it's what, command key? I think, no, let's do something else. Enter key or hit the magnifying glass. When you do that, you should get the cross property single line with several different entries. So 16723 Sunrise Vista Drive, that is the correct one. It's active. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to click on the MLS number, the multiple listing service number. Click. There you go. Okay. So by only typing in 16723 Sunrise, I've got exactly what I'm looking for, which is 16723 Sunrise Vista Drive, Claremont, Florida, 34714. Less is more. Less is more. Okay. Once we get there, we're going to go to the next step. For those that don't know, these are gold to you, these icons up here. Everything does something. When I teach my Find and Show Homes class, you'll learn a lot more about showing time. You'll learn about IMAP. You'll also learn about scheduling, etc. We're looking for these four beautiful dots on the right side there. Those four beautiful dots are called RPR, which stands for Realtors Property Report. Realtors Property Report. How you ladies doing? Good? All right. We're going to click on Realtors Property Report. Now, if it's your first time here, you may not get right into it. If that's the case, raise your hand. I'll tell you how to get through. Very good. Go to the bottom. There should be an 888 or 877 number. Please call that. They'll get you in less than 5 minutes. Did you get in? You're seeing the screen?
Yeah, yes.
Perfect. Okay. Yes. All right. So this is called the property information page. They finally renamed it. Used to be summary. All right. So let's look at it a little bit. The list price is $495. Okay. The RVM, Realtors Valuation Model, says that it's $474,760, rounded up to $475. That RVM was updated on 10/25. Today is 11/7. RPR will usually update every 2 to 4 weeks. Okay. Now, what is this RVM? I don't know. That's why we clicked on the I next to it. Let's see if they can tell us what it is. So the RVM is an estimated value that is generated by an automated valuation model that uses on-market and off-market MLS listing data, plus publicly recorded sold data to provide an estimated property value. And RVM is our most accurate value. Okay? RVMs and AVMs are available. Okay, hold on. RVMs and AVMs are available for single-family residences, condominiums, and smaller multifamily properties. RVMs and AVMs are updated twice a month. You can learn more about the RVMs and AVMs by clicking on there, okay? So here's the thing. I'm gonna make it real easy for you. All right? This is what an RVM can do for you. Let's see. I get my whiteboard. Okay. All right, so let me see. No judgment. That's Florida. I know it's crude, but that's Florida, okay? There is Orlando, where we're at right now. If you guys remember, a month ago, we had a major hurricane come through called Ian. All right? Does everybody remember they had the spaghetti models that said, European model says it's going here, this one says it's going here. So guess what? Here's the thing.
Right through.
With an AVM, it's usually a little far off, not as much. So the AVM, I'm going to say, was saying it was going to Tampa, where James Shaw and everybody was over there, and they were all getting ready to evacuate. The other one, it starts with a Z. What's it called? Zillow, his estimate?
Zillow.
Always all over the place, and they probably had it up in New York getting hit, okay? Because they're never right. RPR got it right, unfortunately, and said it was coming right for Leah McCann and all our friends in Fort Myers and the islands, where they got devastated. Okay, that sounds like a bad correlation, but it's truth. RPR pulls so much data, it will give you the most accurate data to use to set the price for your homes. Now, can this be used with a buyer? Absolutely. Absolutely. Atta girl. To make an offer. No, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, the comps say it's worth $450. You can't offer $400. I'm not writing that offer for $400 because I don't want you to miss out. Always blame it on, something like that. All right. Any questions on this here?
Me.
Yes, you. Go ahead.
What is the difference between an AVM and an RVM?
An AVM?
There's an AVM and an RVM on that screen.
Well, the RVM is the realtor valuation model. That's
And
what RPR, let me bring it back up.
Okay, and what's the AVM?
AVM is an automated value. If you want, I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. If I go back to the main page here
Right,
and I click on the tax
right.
icon, as I scroll down, where is it? Should be right here. When I pass it, jurisdiction, there's a tax,
Here's the tax.
estimated value, the real AVM. See the estimated value?
Oh, I see.
And it says 440, where RPR has got it at about 475. A lot different. The AVM is a 100% computer generated. 100% computer generated. RPR, while there is computer generation, it also takes in facts and figures. Off-market properties, they pull from on-market properties. So they get a truer, more accurate thing. Now, truth be told, and Gloria, thanks for asking that. Sometimes if RPR can't find that data, they'll give you an AVM. That means you gotta do a little more homework.
Okay,
My good friend Marietta Leach in Hayes, Kansas, we were doing it online together and we could not find anything because unfortunately there were not enough comps. So sometimes that happens.
okay.
One other time that RPR will not work, where you have to do your homework, is with land. Land is very hard to comp, especially if it's in a neighborhood that's already established. Let's say it's in a cookie cutter neighborhood. What do we mean? Half of Florida is cookie cutter, right? They all look the same, 5 different models, right? And one lot was left because they held out and now they want to sell it 10 years later. How do you find a comparable?
My immediate thought is like an average of what comps are around there.
And that's basically, but if you find land that's comparable, that's the hard part.
Oh. So you, well, would you subtract the difference? Is there some sort of like cost of construction?
Excellent. I love the way you're thinking.
Has to be cost of construction.
But the easy way for me, find a land baron in your area. And ask them. Because it's a lot easier because they already know what to do, how to do, why to do. Okay?
Ronnie,
Yes,
I'm not sure if you saw my hand. Okay, so what you're saying is that Realtor's property, resource got the hurricane correct?
the hurricane, what was that again?
I'm sorry, you did the whole, you scribbled on the thing, you said the Florida and you said the data. Is that
Correct.
for, is that is that for real? They found out where they were accurate in where the hurricane was gonna go?
No. The weather,
Oh, so you're, wait. So you're giving an analogy of how accurate RPR is
thank you. There you go.
compared to. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Okay, thank you, sorry.
No worries. Thanks for asking. I didn't want to leave you with bad info. Power suggestion, huh? Unfortunately. Anyway, so as we know, with land, it's a little difficult. But right now, you see it says 474, 760, rounded up to 475. Okay? The list price is 495. I'm going to throw out the question right now. Usually ask it till later. Is it overpriced?
According to the RVM it is.
Okay?
Not necessarily,
Who said that?
Right.
Brian.
Ian? Why do you say it's not?
Well, I haven't really looked at the property and looked at all the, kind of the intangible things, and, there's room for a lot of error in that RVM.
Can be, yes, you're absolutely right. Absolutely right. Okay,
What's the condition of the property?
what's the condition? Yep, very good. That could be also. Absolutely. So I'm gonna leave it to the end and then I'll explain my feelings on it and maybe you'll agree, maybe you disagree. So anyway, before we go on, you see it says view details. So when you hit the view details, if you want to, and I very rarely do, unless I can't find substantiating comps, it will now tell you what properties were used to create this RVM. Tells you exactly what they did to do that. They'll show you the current property, and then they'll tell you the recently closed properties used to calculate this RVM, the off-market properties that they pulled from. Okay, and you'll see RPR uses a ton of closed properties. They use a ton of closed properties to come up with this RVM when they're doing it. Are we going to do that? Everybody say no.
No.
No, we're not doing that. Exactly right. Okay. All right. So let's get back to, we found out, okay, they got the RVM at that, whatever. Okay. Let's take it for what it's worth. As you look down here, it shows more on the RVM. It says the RVM estimate range. Some of you, when you're doing listings, will give your sellers a range pricing. There's nothing wrong with that. I just was never a big fan of it, but that's okay.
Why?
Well, because what do you think the mind of the seller is gonna be?
And mine's worth the
And
most.
cut it a high, then that's not a
I'm-
big fan of it. Just saying, okay? Not that you can't do it, hey, if it works for you, ignore what I just said.
Do you think it's could have a negative impact because if they don't, let's say you listed it that great. Now it's not moving and then you have to start to lower the price.
Right.
Look,
That's part of it.
it can be alarming to somebody that now wants.
That's part of it.
and buys property.
Now, the easiest script you use for that, does anybody know? It's the fisherman script, if you want. So you can draw that, it's on the pivot shift page from my good friend Terry Story, and MREA, everybody know what that is? Who's reading that red book?
I do.
You guys didn't get the red book? Wait till I get Savannah. Millionaire real estate agent, and that's who came up with this. And she draws a little picture.
Yeah.
3 guys in a boat putting down their fishing lines. The high, the low, the medium. What's going to attract the most fish?
The low.
Meaning,
The low.
the low, very good. Meaning, on the high side, you're probably not going to get fish. So Mr. and Mrs. Seller, do you want to be priced on the top of the market? Do you want to be priced on the low end of the market or the middle of the market? Most will say middle. Okay, because they still want to get as much as they can. But I'm afraid if I go there, it's too low. Whatever. Anyway, that's how you do that if you so desire. Okay. Now with RPR also, it tells you in 1 month, this came down 2,420. So we know from talking every day on the mastermind call that reductions are coming aplenty. That's coming right now. Let me ask everybody in the room, see where you guys are at. Are we currently in a shift?
Yep.
Everybody shake your head like this.
No.
No, we are not in a shift. According to the shift book written by Gary Keller,
Right, we're in,
5 months or less inventory is a seller's market. Does anybody know how many we are across the country? 3 is about right. Across the country, there's a 3-month supply of homes. We are still in a seller's market. Once it hits 6, 7, it's a balanced market, What's causing it to become balanced? Interest rates, absolutely correct, the interest rates. So right now, basically, you could say the market is evolving. Are the
Ron-
sellers losing money this year?
Ronnie?
Hello,
So on the actual, when I've been getting, I haven't gotten your class, but I've been getting on RPR trying to get myself more familiar with the product.
Mhm.
And it consistently changes. Do you get a chance to see what it was back in December 31st? Is there a place to find out what it was March 6th? And as opposed to now?
Try the
Because-
historical. See the historical button?
Okay.
I've never
okay,
looked at it, but that's where I would start.
Okay.
Great question. Now you gave me homework for afterwards. Thank you, Nicole. Appreciate that. Because I got, that's good. That's one good thing if it's RPR. Where else can we do it? If you're all Keller Williams agents, just go onto your kw.com website. And when you go into the feed, go into the market snapshot, which gives you the last 6 months, If we have time, remind me and I'll show you guys where that's at. That's a great tool. Anyway, the sellers are not losing money. No, they're not making 35 and 38% like they did last year. But if you look at the slides from Family Reunion, those of you that don't know what I'm talking about, go to Southwest Orlando Mastermind page or the Cappers in Training Facebook page. Go into the Files tab. Look for the vision slides. They're all there for you to use. One of the best ones is the mortgage rate one, which shows over 50 years where the mortgage rates are. Are the mortgage rates high right now?
no, not really.
Yes.
Oh, I'm getting 2 things here. Well, wait a minute. Oh,
No,
They
they're
are-
not.
not low, they're medium.
They're
Yeah.
just getting back to normal.
They're getting back to normal. What do you mean by normal?
Historically, the interest rate-
Historically, go ahead, keep going.
historically, the interest rates have been around between 7 and 8. And so we're just getting back to a normal market. What we had was an abnormal market.
So the abnormal market. I like what you're saying there. The abnormal market. Okay. So since I opened that can of worms, let's go there. So those of you in my office, this is where I'm telling you to go. Either go to, and I'm sorry, unfortunately, those online cannot go here because we don't let you in, unfortunately. You have to join our office. You go to the Classic Cappers and Training page or the Southwest Orlando Mastermind, go to the Files tab, go down where Ronnie said, Division, full deck. There it is. Yes, thank you. I've been out of there for almost 35 years. Thank you. You take me out of there, but you can't take me out of there. Yeah, so anyway, all right, so let me share it since we talked about it.
Oh, could you put those in the chat?
Could I put it in the chat for you because you asked nicely, of course. All right, so I'm not going to go through every slide. What I'm going to go through is the slide that we were just talking about. Boom. What is the average over 50 years?
Between 7 and 8.
7.81. Try not to laugh in your buyer's face when they say at 7% right now, the interest rates are too high. No, because they didn't listen to you back in December when it was 3. Yeah, it's high. Because you didn't do what we told you to do.
Bye.
But over 50 years, okay, 1972, most of you weren't even on the planet. And it was 7.81. When I bought my townhouse in 1982, I had a 10% 3-year adjustable rate mortgage.
Oh, wow.
Go up 2, go down 2. And that year went as high as 18. This is the best time to buy.
Right now?
Yep. Why?
Because if it goes down, you can
Keep talking. Yep. Go ahead. Preach.
You can refinance it.
Exactly.
Because exactly, we know it's eventually going to what?
Go up.
So what do? If you're smart, you take your realtor's advice, find a lender that's going to lend you right now and give you no fee refi. Meaning when it comes down 2 points, you refi for what? Free. And then take advantage. Okay? That's the mentality that you have to get into your buyers and you got to get into your sellers. I had a seller one time tell me the interest rates did not affect me one way or another. I was like, wait a minute. The interest rate went up 1%. Rule of thumb. It goes up 1%. They lose how much buying power? 10%. So right now, between 3 and 7, they just lost 40% in buying power. That's why the buyers right now are saying, oh, it's too high because I can't buy a $600,000 home. I can only buy a $360,000 because I lost 40% by waiting too long. And reality is this. Do buyers live by interest rates? Say no.
No.
They live by what?
Payment.
What was that?
Payment.
Monthly payment. So as long as the monthly payment works, it doesn't matter. Because you want to know something? The renters don't care about mortgage rates. They don't care. Why? As long as they can make their monthly payment, guess what?
That's all they care about.
What's the rate on the rentals?
100%.
100%. They pay 100%, but they don't care as long as they can pay that monthly. It's up to you to convince them. 100%. If you're renting, you're throwing away 100% of your money.
Can't write it off. Can't do anything with that.
Can't write off, can't do nothing. Maybe get a couple of kids, and then get the write-off that, I don't know, whatever. Anyway. So this is one of the most powerful slides you should have. Please remind me, I'll put it in the thing for you.
Thank you.
There's also Canada in there, but that's one of the best slides that you can use.
It really is.
Because, listen, it's a no-brainer. And the way we teach at Keller Williams, you let them self-discover. Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, can you please tell me, what is the interest rate currently? Let them speak whatever they think. Some may say 7, some may say 6, some may, whatever. Can you tell me over 50 years, what is the average? Okay, so are we really high on the interest rate? It's getting there. I get it. I get it. But reality is we're nowhere near where it could be. So I was on a webinar with Gary Keller. And this was about 4 months ago, before the inflation really took off. This was probably when the interest rate was around 3 or 4%. It was just starting to talk about it. Gary said, and I quote, "Don't be surprised if the feds raise the rates to 18%. He said like this, quote, "You're a jerk if you think they won't do that, because they'll continue to do it until the buyers stop buying. And then once the buyers start buying, what do you think is going to happen? It's called a recession. And what happens to the interest rates in a recession? They go down. It's an evil game. What is hurting the interest rates right now? I told you, Gary said, they'll keep raising them until the buyers stop buying.
People are buying too much stuff.
Who's buying though? That's really hurting us.
Investors.
Well, the investors, and why the investors?
The banks are buying the houses.
Yeah, but would you agree that most of the investors are buying cash,
For cash.
which doesn't affect them? That's what's affecting us right now, until they stop buying.
And it's hard too, because obviously so many people are traveling, they're moving here
Well,
for
that's
so many reasons.
another thing. Yep,
It's been like, it's
Yep.
a rush.
absolutely. So
Running,
that's why we got that. All right, so we covered a little bit on how the market's doing. So see, this is even more than just a CMA class. All right, so let's get back to CMA. Let's see.
I put a question in the chat and you may have already gone over it. So the RVM, they will actually get those off-market properties, because I know all of us in our different cities had tons of people closing off-market that never hit the MLS, that you never knew about, quiet sales. So does the RVM get that eventually?
Well, where do you think they're pulling for the off-market properties?
Tax records, I'm assuming.
Yes, absolutely, Nicole, you're right. Public tax records.
Right,
Key, the first word, it's open to the public,
correct.
but nobody looks at it. Or nobody tracks it the way they should. RPR makes sure they do.
Thank you so much for that distinction, because I have a client who is so much on Zillow. I'm like thinking, dude, your price is this. So Zillow's showing it a constant decline, and my RPR is showing it a constant, you're at this price. So, okay.
So Nicole, you went toe to toe with RPR and Zillow?
Kind of, sort of, but I haven't actually sent it to him yet.
Okay.
But I've
By
been
the end of
telling
the
him,
class, you're gonna destroy Zillow after you find out what I'm talking about. Because that was one of the biggest ahas when I did this class. When I did this class, I said to myself, wait a minute, Ron. I love RPR. We all trust RPR, but that's one opinion. And their opinion is always Zillow. But what if I found other opinions? Because now, when you put more opinions in front of them, they can't really say now, well, Zillow said, I don't care what Zillow said. I don't care. This is what the market is telling us. Remember, as a realtor, do you make the market?
No,
Do
we
you make the
interpret,
market?
we interpret it.
You interpret it. Remember that. That's our favorite line. I'm sorry, Mr. and Mrs. Seller. We don't make the market, we just interpret it, okay? All right, other part of the RVM right here is the confidence score. 5 stars. If it's 5 stars, I will promise you that we can probably cash that number in at 474, 760. Class dismissed. We don't have to go any further. That's what the property's worth. Okay, why? Because if we look at the informazione and to learn about the confidence score, it'll take us to RPR. Tells you about the history, the accuracy. I don't need that. We're just going to go right here. Click for the rating details. Okay. If it's 5 stars, sales price is likely to be in plus or minus 10% of the RVM 90% of the time. 90% of the time. So if it's 475, 10% would be what? 50,000.
47,000.
Right, 47,000, thank you, I was rounding off. So it could be high or low that. 90% of the time, okay? If it's 4 stars, it's in 15 plus or minus 15, 3 stars 20, 2 stars 25, 1 star 30. So the biggest star hard for me, because I didn't know where to find this. I was like, well, I trust the 5. If it's 4, I would tell you to research a little more. 3, you got to really look. No, you don't. Because these are so close. RPR has already done the homework for us. If they can't find the comps, then it's probably one of those properties where it doesn't have enough criteria to help you. So
That
then you
right
gotta do
there
what?
is-
What's
that
that?
Way more accurate than Zillow.
Well, you
I
won't.
know,
get
but
an
what I'm
argument from
saying
me,
is,
Nicole.
when you go on there and they tell you like 35%, right there, we're already way better at 1 star.
Absolutely, absolutely. I agree with you. Okay?
And
Oh.
is the AVM the same as the RVM?
No, the AVM is automated value. That's computer only, computer only. So usually, I'm glad you asked that question. If RPR gives you an AVM, it's probably gonna have 1 star. That means they couldn't find data.
Okay,
So they're not gonna put their neck out there per se with 2 stars, 3 stars, 4 stars. I've never seen an AVM with more than 2 stars.
okay.
So, well, yeah, great question. All right, so let's go back to where we're working. See if I can get that going. Okay. So now that we're here, now we've dissected this. Now let's move on to the handout. So the next thing in the handout, it tells me to what? Oh, let's just go over where it says create a CMA. Who'd have think it was that easy? Who'd have think it was that easy? Create a CMA. Now the software is going to do what we want. Okay. Number 1, it's going to give you the property and summary, and I want you guys to pay attention, write it down, whatever. You want to take into account the living area, the square footage, which is 2919. It is a 5-bedroom, 4-bath, and it was built in 2005. Okay, that's very critical. Very critical. All right. The next thing, you see select analysis type. The default for us is comparative analysis. That's what we're doing. That's what we're doing. It's what? Build an estimate based on comps. That's what most of us do as realtors. The second thing says sales comparison analysis, more detailed. Look, if they told you that the faucets, when they turn them on, gold comes out, then reevaluate it and add or subtract using this. Here's the point I want to make. I've been with this for 10 years. The old software did not have this parentheses here saying, what's the difference? What it said next to the sales comparison analysis, it said a more detailed evaluation used by appraisers. What? Appraisers use RPR? Yeah, they're licensed realtors. And because RPR figured it out, most agents were not going to use both. They were going to say, I'm not an appraiser and only use this. Because how many of you like to add and subtract inferior, superior, subject, add a pool, subtract a pool. If that's your thing, that's a 3-hour CMA. Now, if you do it faster, great, good for you. For me, this should be done in less than 10 minutes. I promise you. You'll still be able to take it and cash in. Because you'll have the material you need to take it to your listing presentation or your buyer consultation. You come back from a property and they say, well, you know, I think this is, we want to put an offer 70,000 low. Let me pull the comparables. Let's just see what's going on. Okay? All right, so we're going to use the comparative analysis. I will click on the eye real quick. The key difference between RPR's comparative and a comparison, adjustments can be made and reports generated afterwards. The CMA has simple adjustment and can be included in the seller's report, property report, mini report. The analysis can be used in a valuation report. If you have somebody that's looking for investment properties and wants to know how those investments go, there's a valuation book to do that. I don't teach that. There are webinars, there are blogs, there are so many different things that you're already paying for that you can get from RPR. I'll show you where to find that at the end of the class. Okay? So what we're
Right.
gonna do, yes,
On one of those unique properties before you actually, because you know, sometimes we tell our sellers that their property is so unique, we might as well get an appraisal and get opinion of value from an appraiser. Would you potentially do the sales comparative market analysis yourself? It was like a lake property, it was, you know, very unique. Would you do that possibly before you you told your seller to get the appraisal?
no, I want to see the appraisal.
Okay, all right.
Don't forget the appraiser's getting paid for it. So,
And this is on them. I got you.
because now you can use that as leverage if they allow you to, right? If they come back and say the appraiser said it's worth 50,000 more than you said, say, great, great. We're gonna put it on the MLS. Listed at appraised value. Appraisal available with full price offer, because that's what you're gonna price it at, right? I would still, if I was you, build in a price reduction the day you take the listing. Because just because the appraiser said X doesn't mean
It's
the
gonna-
market says Y, okay? That's what you gotta remember. How many of you, and most of you know, how many of you have listed a home and 6 months later it didn't sell and you priced it right? Yeah, that can happen. It
Yeah.
can happen. You can do everything right and it still don't sell. All right, so first thing it tells us to do is confirm facts. This is just going through the system. Now, you'll look at it and you'll see, it says in the public record, it's 6 bedrooms, 4 baths, 3 full baths, 1 partial bath. In the listing data, it says 5 bedrooms, 4 baths, 4 full baths. Which is right, which is wrong? Who cares? In this case, if you're listing the home, the buyer cares if there's 5 bedrooms or 6. How do you find out which is right?
You go and look at the property.
Perfect. Go to the property and take a look. Very good. Okay. If it's wrong or you feel that it's wrong, you can click in here and you can add or subtract. Basically, what you're doing this here is when you print the report, it's going to reflect the changes for you that you did. Excuse me. Once you're satisfied, click confirm facts and close. Once that happens, we're just going to follow the wizard here. It says find comps. We are now going to go find comps. Remember, I told you to write down 2919 54 2005. We want to know what we're working with. Okay, so truth be told, back in the day, I used to tweak this and tweak it real tight. I have since left it because I want to get a potpourri of what's going on. I want to get more. Now, those of you who love the maps, you can draw a shape. You can put a map, draw the shape. Make sure you do what? Enclose the entire subdivision. Because right outside the gates of one subdivision could be inferior properties. depending on where it's at, okay? For my purposes, I don't use that. The teardrop here is the subject property. I will just use the distance, which is just selecting them. Now, for the last almost 3 years, the drop down, the default was within the last 6 months. Within the last 6 months. Can we use properties from 6 months ago?
No,
Not anymore. Let's take that route. Not anymore, we can't. Because the market was totally different 6 months ago. Now, 6 months ago, we were pulling from 6 months. Because the market was so on a high, it didn't matter in those 6 months comps. RPR has changed the default now to where it originally started when I first started with it, 3 months. Because that's what most realtors were taught. We only want to look 3 months behind, because that's what an appraiser is. They don't care what's happening forward. They only care what's happening behind us. So 3 months would be the default. Can you change and get more if you need? Yes, that's why the drop down's there. If you can't find any in 3 months, go back 6. Who's done an appraisal or who's had an appraisal done where they couldn't find comps, so they used comps that were a year old and gave weight towards the year leverage? Me, I have them. Yeah, that's how I learned that it can be done, right? Because I was like, it's a year old, how's he gonna, do it? They give a score or they give plus or minus money to offset the fact that the comp was a year old compared to the comparable. Okay, so we're gonna go with the 3 months, like we said here. Very simply, I'm just gonna click search. Done. I have 4 properties to choose from, and I have 6 for sale properties. Now, just because there's such a limited amount here, I am going to do like I had just stated. The reason I say this is, I'm gonna go modify search, okay? If we go with the premise of 3 months, today is 11/7. That means 10/7, 9/7, 8/7, correct?
right?
What if one sold on 8/6? Do you think I would use it if I needed to?
Yeah.
Absolutely. So in this case, since I only got 4, I'm gonna change this to 6 months and let's see what it gives me. Oh, 7 more to choose from. I'm not saying I'm going to choose them. I'm just saying this is how I can leverage a little bit. Don't panic, right? All right, so any computer geeks in the room? Matt? So Matt and I both know one of the best computer skills you can use is go to where it says square footage and click. Guess what it does? It now puts the square footage in a high to low. What did I say the square footage was? 2919. Scroll down to 2919 and find your comps. Easy peasy, instead of it being all scrambled. Okay? Now, take into consideration a couple of things. Proximity. So it says 0.8 of a mile from the subject property. The subject is what we're doing. Also, what's a good tip? It's on the same street, Sunrise Vista. Okay? Great comp. Only thing is, it's a 4-bedroom, 3-bath. Should we use it? Well, one of the sheets I handed you was from my good friend, Kelly Kellogg, the appraisal expert. She wrote the book, The ABCs of Appraisals. And if you look at it, don't worry that it's the 2020 version. It ain't that much different. If you look at it where it says, should say, let's see where it is. 3.2 hardwood, full bathroom. I'm looking for, says the age difference, see? So it has the age difference. Oh, this one is not the updated one, I'm sorry. The updated one has the bedroom. The bedrooms can go for, on the low, 5,000 that you would add in price. Okay, minute. minute when I tell you. All right, so to save time, I already selected the ones that I wanted. I am going to pull them. We'll talk about them as we go. But I will bring to your attention, on the right side, you will see some blue stars. The blue stars are the ones that RPR used to create their RVM that they had, okay? So you have that. So the first one that I chose to use was 166.26 rolling. Let's see, where'd it go? Right here. 0.3 of a mile. It was on the market 74 days. What does that tell you? They were probably priced a little too high, that they should. It sold on 10/18, less than a month ago, and it sold for 480. It's a 5-bedroom, 4-bath, built in 04. I ain't worried about it. 2968 square feet compared to 2919 square feet. When I did BPOs, we weighed $50 for each square foot. It's pennies, pennies. Don't overthink this, okay? You're not right, you're not wrong if you selected something different than I did. So I'm going to select that. That's the first one. It's going to start to make a spread range and select the comps that are we going to use to make this comparative market analysis, equity analysis, okay? The next one I use, 168.04. Oh, let's see, Gold Star, 0.32, 91, 470. I use that. The next one I used is 166.41 Sunrise, which is the one we originally talked about. That's this one right here. And we added that on. Right now, I've got 3 sold comps between 432 and 473. Can I use more than 3?
Yes,
That's what I don't advise it. I did that one time and the 4th one did me in, unfortunately. Okay, so be careful. Next, what are we going to look for? We're going to look for active or pending. Let me ask a question. Are actives better than pendings?
no, pendings are better
Why is the pending better?
because they've basically sold.
What happened?
They almost sold.
They almost sold, okay? What else?
They've already made their price adjustments.
Okay, fair enough. What else?
Should something become more desirable once it's been gone pending? Property become more desirable to shoppers, buyers?
So the point I'm trying to make is this: why is a pending, when you're doing this equity analysis, CMA, more valuable to you than an active?
It's an indicator of what's truly going on in the market. It's an indicator of what the buyer, okay, how can I say this?
You're so close.
What the buyer's willing to pay, what caused it to sell, basically what I'm saying.
So it's marked pending. How do you know what the buyer paid?
You don't.
You pick up the phone and call them.
Thank you, Nicole. You pick up the phone and you call the listing agent.
They'll
They're
tell you,
never gonna
people will
tell
tell
you.
you way more than you, people will tell you way more than they should, and you just sit there and you listen.
Well, that's true. That's true. But let's go this route. They're probably not going to tell you because they think you have a buyer. The easy script is this: hi, Mr. and Mrs. Listing Agent. I got this crazy seller in the same neighborhood as you. I seen it went pending. Did you get full list price? I didn't ask you the price. Oh my God, we got 7 offers. Oh, were they above? And now you can pretty much get in a ballpark. And as Nicole said, you'd be surprised how many will tell you. You'd be surprised. Is it unethical?
No,
Is it unethical to ask the question? No, it is not.
no.
You can ask anything. It might be unethical for them to tell you what they shouldn't have told you.
Right.
You can ask anything. I'm a former buyer's agent. I would call before we went out on any property. Ask, do you have any pending? Any listing? Any at or above list price? Got offers? Well, I'm waiting for one. When are you going to market pending? I'm guilty of this myself. You legally have 2 business days to market pending. You legally have 2 business days to market pending in the MLS. I prefer to go under contract on Saturday, because then I don't have to market pending until Wednesday.
Monday. Oh,
2 business days. Saturday, Sunday don't count,
okay.
okay? So I
Is
have,
that, is that Florida specific?
that's Florida.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Bless
check your own
Florida.
MLS, don't get in trouble.
Okay.
Okay, I've had so many agents tell me, you have to market pending immediately, okay? Go read the
I
rules.
should have been in realtor jail a long time ago then.
All right, so the pendings are more important, and unfortunately, this month, I couldn't find any pendings here. But guess what? Can you not call the actives?
Yeah,
Mhm.
Ask the same question.
Activity.
Why did you price it at that price? Because I got a seller in this area. Well, this is what we feel the market is telling us. Let me ask you, I noticed that it's active for 74 days. Did you get any offers? Or is the seller that stingy that he doesn't want to come down in price, right? That's what tells you right there. 89 days, 102 days, okay? Serious? That's, I feel sorry for those agents that took those listings. All right, so what did I use for the active? 167.49. So this has been on the market 215 days, but it's right next door.
right.
It's the year. And I'm gonna call and find out. Well, first of all, our MLS has this beautiful tool. It's called the property history. So I'm gonna first look at the history and see if they had price reductions. Oh, you mean he had it listed originally at 550? Because they did it in December, thought they were gonna get it quick, and then things fell out. And now can't get the seller to agree to be reasonable. That's the word I'll use. Okay? 167.12, right next door. And this actually went on the market 44 days ago. Still seems like it's overpriced. What's the other one? 16817.
There's one pending.
And there's there. I'm glad you noticed that. That was on purpose. Okay. So Sheree tell me there's one that's pending. Okay. Why am I reluctant to use that?
Because it's so low.
What's that?
It's so low.
Well, that's one thing you can look at, but remember, what was the first thing I said?
The
No,
square
what you
footage
can
and the square footage and everything is a little off. However, can't you, I would call them to see what's going on with that.
That's a smart lady. The main reason is this. It's a half a mile away. And everything else that I've shown you has been nice and tight, probably in the same subdivision. Okay? If I really had to use this, yes. And as Nicole just said, yeah, pick up the damn phone, call them. You got nothing to lose. Just to ask what's going on. How do you feel this way? Right? All right. So now that we've.
Straight sale, you just don't know. It could be someone who just wants convenience and out of there.
Could be, absolutely. So now that you got 3 and 3, we got the spread range, 432 to 549, 549. 549, it's only listed at 495. Now you see why I'm not a big fan. Okay, because here's the thing that you're going to see right now. Update valuation and close, that's the next step. I update the valuation and close. The average of those comps only came out to 485. Nowhere near 5 and change. So right now, if I go right back to the property information. It's listed at 495. The RVM was 475. I comped it at 485. Do you now see why this number was okay to go with? I didn't have to do this. I do it on purpose to have some material to use, right? Okay, But now, do we think this is overpriced at $495? No, it's not. So I'll teach you the way I was taught. You can take it for what it's worth. I don't care. I know people argue with me, and if they got full price, $495, is the seller walking away with $495?
No,
Oh, now you get why it's not overpriced. There are some smart agents that do the right thing and build in negotiation. The market will tell you in 2 weeks whether or not that was right. Then you go to price reductions. But at least you make sure that the seller knows what are the closing costs for a seller? Approximately.
8 to 9%.
Oh, that's one of them geniuses talking again. I've always seen it as 9. Of course, I can't do that kind of math, so it's 10%. I round it off. Why? Because if I show the seller that they're making more money, they smile. If I underestimate it, then they frown. So I will tell them outright, your closing costs are going to be 10%. So 10% is probably going to be about 50 grand. So you're going to walk away with 445. Are you okay with that? Great. Let's list it for 495. And that's in the hopes that we get 495. Because you're probably not going to get 495 because the market's telling us 484. So then, and this has to do with your pre-listing. When you call the seller, and this is getting into a seller's class, when you call, there's 21 questions you should be asking. Where are you moving to? Why? What takes you there? Let me ask you, what do you want to price it at? Well, you're the genius, you tell me. Because I study the market, what's the price you can't go below? You get any of those two figures, those are the two figures you put on your seller's net sheet. You're going to hear a lot of people say, just get the title company to put out the seller's net sheet. That's only one version. Ask them to do 2 versions. It may ask you, what are you talking about? Because most agents don't do that. I was taught, we have it in our Facebook pages. It's 2 columns. The first column is what I listed at. The second column is the break-even point. So if it's listed at 495 and it's listed at 450, 2 weeks from now, when the market doesn't give me any offers or any showings, I reduce it to 490, 485. As long as they're making $1 over 445, it's an easy price reduction because they already know. That's how you do a listing. That's how you get leverage. Okay? That's why I say, if an agent puts in 20 or 25,000, I'm probably okay with it. Unless it's a really tight area where you're seeing that they're not getting anything near that. Then the conversation is the seller, look, you're not going to get nowhere near this. Are you okay? You always tie it back to what? Starts with a big M.
Mortgage.
Market.
No. Good guess. What's the only reason someone's buying or selling? Their
Monthly payment.
motivation.
Oh, yeah, you got that right.
Motivation.
Tie it back to the motivation.
You got that right.
You told me you need to be in San Diego because you got the job in a month and a half. We need to put this and price it right. Don't say give it away, right? Please. We need to price it right because we need to get you there because that's what you told me you need to do. Did your plans change? Don't be afraid to call them out on it. Are you investing time and money on these properties? Say yes.
Yes.
Yes, you are.
Well,
Your job is
actually-
what? Get the house sold in the shortest amount of time for the most amount of money with the fewest hassle.
Ronnie, you actually need to go back to motivation almost every conversation because their plans can change and they may have thought they told you, just like when you respond to a text message, you may have thought you responded to that text message, but you didn't. And then you're like, oh, I forgot to tell you. They actually sometimes forget to tell us that something's changed, that company has downsized, now they gotta do this, or mom's moving in, or what have you. They sometimes forget to tell you that the motivations change.
And that's why you follow up with them how often?
How often?
Yes,
Every
Every-
conversation.
well, you follow up with them at least once a week,
once,
whether
Yes.
there's nothing to tell them.
right,
Because the first thing you'll hear, if and when you call expired listings, well, why do you think your home doesn't sell? Well, I didn't hear from my agent for 6 months. And
Mhm.
that's probably the truth. Especially now, the way the market's starting to evolve. Okay? All right, so getting a little tight on time. So let's go to the next thing. We've got this all night tonight. What's the next thing we need to do? Oh, that's right. We need to create a report. So we're going to click on create a report. When we click on create a report, first thing that comes up is the property report. Then there's a seller's report, there's a property flyer. These are the greatest tools most agents don't use. Those of you that are in Ignite, the books are gone. All right. The conversations book. I'll have new ones for tomorrow. The first conversation says, and I quote, "I have a wealth of timely information. Do I have your correct email address and your correct physical address?" Why do we ask that? Who's in Ignite? Okay, what do you do every day in Ignite, or you're supposed to be doing?
be in contact with somebody.
Yes, it's called the Daily 10-4. You make 10 contacts, having a phone conversation, two-way conversation, phone, text. What's the best way to make contact?
Person to person,
Face-to-face.
face to face.
Person to person, okay? So either way, make 10 contacts, add 10 to your command database, write them 10 handwritten note cards, thanking them for taking your phone call. Ma, thanks for taking my call. Remember, you gotta buy a house, or if you know somebody, stick your business card and send it to Ma. And physically preview 10 homes per week. Physically preview 10 homes per week. Yes, you're allowed to, as we learned in financial homes class. There's a drop down that says agent preview. During COVID, how many agents were showing homes with potential buyers? Next to none. They were previewing, going with their little gimbals and their cameras, right? Yeah. And agent preview was before the pandemic. That ain't new. The only thing that came new is virtual showing that they showed you, which is what we're doing anyway. But anyhow, the physical address is to send them or email, well, it's to write the handwritten note. The email address is to send them one of these beautiful reports. One of these beautiful reports. The seller's report here, which is approximately 81 pages. Okay, you got a high analytical, a high C. It is what? Property specific. So put in their property, they give you a hard time, send them the 81 pages. What we done for you? Plenty. Graphs, charts, everything you want. Everything to look like a genius, okay? I had that happen to me. I had somebody in the UK selling a home here. I gave him the neighborhood report, which is about 10 pages. Ron, this is great, but I need to know what's really going on in the whole thing. Okay, whatever. I went here, I sent them this. Okay, got the listing. Area. So I figured out that a neighborhood report for CMA is not really the way to go. It's probably the property report. Now, it's not going to be 28 pages. When you open it up, you can actually tweak it, which is what
And
I do.
delete some.
You tweak it. You tweak
Okay.
it. So how are you going to tweak it? So we need the subject property, and you can look at these and it'll tell you exactly what it's going to give you. What it includes. Okay, we don't need the property photos. Why? They know what the house looks like.
Mhm.
And you don't need the historic photos. That takes up pages. They know what the house looks like. It's still going to put on the first page a property photo. This is additional. Now, if the photo that uses in the report is 20 years old, then what do? Go to the home, take a photo and add it in here. That's all. But it'll save you pages. Refined value, yes. Comps and analysis, yes. Property history, assessed value, mortgages you can use. Sales and financing, distress, unless it is a distressed properties. How many of you believe we're gonna have short sales like crazy?
Me,
Who's me? Gloria, you got too much equity. Short sales ain't happening.
yeah, but you
Only
know
way it
what,
happens is if they bought in the last 6 months and lost their job.
Ronnie? But
Yes.
so many of the people just bury their heads in the sand, and even if they've got all that equity, they won't put the house on the market.
Well,
And they won't talk to a realtor. They're so embarrassed and so ashamed that they've fallen behind in their payments.
yeah, but
I've
if you go ask the bank to forgive, that's what a short sale is. The bank will laugh at you and say, sell the house and pay us off and walk away with what the profit is.
With the
So
short,
basically foreclosures and versus short sales, is what
well,
you're saying.
that's true. That's
Same
the very-
thing, the forbearance, I know, they're putting it on the back, I know, same thing. But it's not gonna be the epidemic like we had in 2008,
Right.
Correct.
so. All right, so let's see, map layers I don't need the neighborhood stats, et cetera, et cetera. School summary, only if they're asking about schools. Last page about RPR, definitely, because it explains it, so this way you don't have to, about the data. Once you are happy with that, very simply, do not ever send it from the system. Always do a proofread. Always do a proofread. So always just download it, run a report and display it right here. So I'm gonna click run the report. You can still work with RPR. If you got your volume on, a little doorbell will ring when it actually comes up completed.
It actually scares you.
It can if you got it on. Tells you up at the top there, it says reports 1, so that's what it's doing. See, it's finalizing, that's what it's telling you. Okay,
Don't let your dogs hear it.
I'm sorry?
I said, don't let your dogs hear it. Let me go ahead and put mine on mute so that my dog.
Okay. Oh, the dog will answer the door.
No, my dogs will bark if they hear it. So I put myself on mute.
All right, come on, RPR. Look at that. There we go. We download. Gave me 12 pages. This is a 12-page report, which is perfect. Let me get the share. All right, so this is the report. Shows you front of the house, and then if you have your RPR branded the right way, for those people in the room, that's mission 4. Mission 4, we do that. We'll brand and show you to do it. Second page, this is the page. This is the page that's gold. It says list price, says current estimated value, and it says your comp analysis, okay? No, you're not gonna give this to somebody and leave without a listing agreement, at a listing presentation. Why?
It's got good information.
Well, the information is this. You just told them what the house is worth. Tomorrow they stick a sign in the yard and don't use you. Okay, so never leave. Some will tell you, don't worry about it, leave it. that's the way I was taught, don't leave it. Now, for those of us, we said in the beginning, you want to do a daily equity analysis every single day. This is the teaser. You take this and you send this to your prospective customer, not the comp analysis, only the current estimated value. Hey, would you like to know the full equity in your home? Contact me for a detailed equity analysis. You either email it or text them this. Take a snapshot. Page two. Now, can you modify this? Yes, if you got Adobe Pro, you can modify it, or you can actually use, where is it? You can actually go right down here, suppress the subject value, suppress the estimated value, suppress the subject property. The software will do it for you. Okay? So you choose which one you want to eliminate it, whether to hide the refined value, etc., and then publish it that way. And just use page two. It's called a MOFR, make offer for immediate response. It's in page 61 of the shift book. Okay, that's what Gary Keller teaches us. So this is the way that you can use it to do your equity analysis. Okay, so now we finished with basically, oh, look at that, we got another doorbell. I like that. Come in. So if it, Nisi Draper, wow, another star. Anyway, we finished with the RPR. We've gotten the figures and information. So now my brain went like this, and this is how this got expanded. Well, it's great, Ron. That's just one opinion. Okay, that's just one opinion, RPR. The Zillio's telling me this. Okay, great. So let's now justify it. Let's justify it. So most of it is already built in to our tools. Most of it is already there, built into our tools. So if we go to the multiple listing system, and if you don't have it in yours, don't worry about it. If you don't have it in yours, you're still going to be able to do this, and I'll show you how. Go back to the listing. Okay, so you go back to it, right next to RPR, there's a little icon right here. This came about 6 or 8 months ago. It says Realtor.com Pro Search Property Report. Pro Search Property Report. What is that? I guess I'm a pro, right? So I click on it. Tells me to put an email address. So I use the one that's with the MLS. Shazam. It brings up the property. Oh my God, right? Listed at $495. Realtor.com gives you a what? I thought Zillio does that. Realtor.com finally woke up and said, let's put an estimate. But wait, there's more. You think? Very good. Now you're starting to get it.
What did you say? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
It's close to mine, close to the RPR. Right? That I have to waste an hour and a half and bore you guys like that.
Go for it.
When I just could have told you to clickety, clickety, and this is what I'm going to get you into the habit. You're going to use these other ones and just click, 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 click. Once you get a consensus, then if you want to do a full-blown one, go back to RPR. Just saying, because guess what? Who else is doing this? The
Nobody.
buyers, sellers, and investors are doing the same thing. Now, look, I went in through Pro Search, but I do it for a specific reason, to show you that. But what does it say here? It says view the property on Realtor.com. Well, guess what this property looks like on Realtor.com? First of all, you see, get rid of that. Am I logged in? No, so I'm just going as guest. Yet I'm going to get to see the same information that a buyer, seller, or investor is doing. So in this point, we'll go down here. I don't see an estimate. But Realtor got even smarter. They now call it the real estimate. When you click on the real estimate, it gives you 3 different opinions. Collateral analytics is at 487. Core Logic, guess what? That's who built Matrix, which is our MLS. Has it at 483.2. Quantarian, I come to find out this is artificial intelligence predicting. Okay? So we know the list price. We know the estimate was what, 484, something like that? All right, so guess what? If you don't know how an appraiser works, when they get their three, what do they do to come up with the figures? They throw out the high, they throw out the low, and they take the middle. So that's exactly what I just did here. Could you use all three? Yes, don't worry about it. Because you're gonna see it doesn't make that much of a difference. So I took out the 487. The 487 is what I'm using. I'm building a list here, building a list, okay? Next thing. We're gonna go real quick with this. We need them, but they are the nastiest on the planet because they're not our friends. It's called Bank of America. They are not our friends. We need them because we need the money, but they're not our friends. So because I can't, let me go back. Because I can't type, we copy and paste. So copy, and where are you? We go here, and what does it say? Home value. I didn't log in. Same as just the average Joe, just coming on here saying, oh, let me see what my house is worth. Okay, put it in. You got to wait till it picks it up. There it is, picked it up. We click. Bank of America now tells you they believe it's worth 463. Ooh, wait a minute, wait a minute. Oh, that's a little low, right? Is that what you're telling me? Who cares? I used to say, and I quote, if it's too low and it doesn't match what you're doing, don't bring it with you. Okay? In this instance, I tried something different today. I'm going to bring everything with me, except for one. There's only one I'm not going to bring with me. Okay? So if you scroll down, it tells you the comps they used. Now you got to watch because some of them will tell you the comps, but the comps may not be current. 2021, okay, 399. 2021, 411. So that's why it's probably a little lower. If you take all from 2022 and narrow it down to the last 3 months, if you could find that, it's probably going to be a little higher. But I don't care. I'm still taking it. 463. I wrote it down. Done. All right, next one. And don't worry about all of these. Why? Because on the second to last page, they're in your handout. All of the links and all of the ones that we're using. So just look at that. Okay. Next one we're going to is Penny. Okay, so the next one is Penny Mac. Penny Mac is a mortgage company. Penny Mac. Okay. And what does it say right here? It says, what's my house worth? I put in the address. Okay. Supposed to pick it up. There it is. Once it picks it up, good. Now say I'm not a robot. Now get your home value estimate. Here's the best part. It not only tells you the estimate, it tells you how much the home went up since it last sold. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, your house has increased 222,000. The market right now is not at that point. Would you be okay with 200,000, 200%? Right? Okay. Here's the other thing. Not only do they tell you what their estimate is, they also tell you this estimate, the Zillow. They tell you the Zillow. This is the first time the Zillow is right in line with what Penny Mac says. Round off, I took it 483, 4 times 4 is 483. Okay. Let's go to the next one. I got more. Let's see. Let's go back. Where was it? The next one is called Mavoto. Those of us that are in the business a long time, we used to pay Mavoto 30%. They used to give you well-qualified leads. And with Mavoto, if you didn't follow up with them, they dropped you. They stayed on top of you. All right, so we're gonna go price my home. We're gonna go in here, paste it, click. No, I don't want to claim the home. Uh-oh. 535. 535. Where did Mavoto come with those numbers? 535. I still wrote it down. Okay? Now, here's the thing. If you go down, you'll see the comparables. And they tell you how close and the price. Okay? This one's new. This is a mile away, throw it out. This is a mile away, throw it out. Now I know how they got to 535. Too far away. So if you want, add these up and come up with your thing. But I still wrote down 535. Okay? Just for this exercise. All right, the next one. Rocket Mortgage. Going to go through the same principle.
The Villa of Mortgages.
$473,300. And they say you'll sell it in 11 days. I don't believe that. Who believes that? Who? Yeah, if I want to give it away, right? So 473, I wrote that down. Okay, but wait, there's more. In our MLS, and maybe your MLS has it, maybe your MLS does not. But in my MLS, they have this tool called, this way.
With CMA.
No, I won't. We have that too, but we won't use that. That's not the one I'm looking for. What I'm looking for is my good friends over at the,
Remind,
what's that?
Remind.
Remind, very good. It's absolutely correct. So Remind, which is built into my MLS, does about the same thing. And it helps us even more as soon as it loads. All right, so we'll click on the search. And we put in the address. And it should find it. There it is. We click on it. It's going to bring up a detail page about it. Go down on the right side here to where it says valuation. Valuation. Uh-oh. The overall consensus is 465. First American who built Remind says it's at 480 on 10/19/22. Remind itself says 395, that's on 11/1. Redfin, you ever heard of Redfin? They say it's 500,007 on 11/7 today. And then what's that guy there, the Zillow says his estimate is 482 on 11/6. And also, if you need to tell them about rentals, his estimate rental is there too. So what do? Take them all or take one? Whatever works for you. So what I did to prove a point, I took Redfin at 500 and I took First American at 480. Okay? Now, I got to unshare my screen because I want the people at home to see this. There we go. So if you see, I have everything that we just did listed. RPR at 485, Realtor at 487, Bank of America at 463, Penny at 483, Rocket at 473, Redfin at 5, First American at 480, Mavoto at 535. The one I didn't use was Chase Bank, was at 427. Okay. I added them all up. And that's what the market is telling us it's doing. How much is it? 488. 488. What did RPR tell us? 484. Did
You
I?
did the average of them? You added them all up and did the average?
Yes, ma'am. That's what this is. That's the average.
Gotcha.
Okay? That's why it works. All right?
Right on target.
I got frozen. I might lose you guys, but that basically is the.
That basically is the
Offer one
class, is that what
free.
you're saying?
That's it.
Ronnie, this is a good class. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you.
Absolutely. What questions do you have? Does the RVM find the closed properties? Yep, we already answered that.
Yeah, this the historical, because I've been going on looking at a couple people's and, you know, obviously changes, you put your own in there. And I just didn't know if you could see time over time, how it goes up, goes down, goes up, goes down. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah, that's why I would use, and I don't think I'm gonna be able to get it. No, it's
Ronnie,
gonna lock up on me.
would you show your seller what each one, what their estimate of value is and that,
Laurie, I printed out every page.
pardon?
Says 473 and I'm taking it with me. I'm printing out that page.
You are,
And then I'm
okay,
gonna line it up one by one next to each other, RPR, Realtor.
uh-huh,
Just screenshot it. Don't worry that it's not perfect,
right,
right?
right.
You can drop the point home.
Let them self-discover. Can you tell me what's the common theme here? Oh, it's all below 500 except for one. Do you want to be on the top of the market? Here, let me do this for you. I added them all up and I averaged it. We're at 488. Do you want to list it at 500? We'll list it at 500. But I'm going to build in a price reduction. Well, what do you mean? When the market's going to tell us in 2 weeks. Well, what does that mean? The National Association of Realtors tells us if there are 0 offers or 0 showings within the first 14 days, is typically overpriced. Do you agree to reduce the price? Well, what if we get 1 show? The clock keeps ticking. Do what you want. You know what I mean? Don't say, oh, well, we had 1, but we didn't really have enough. No, just honor what it is. They'll get the message because you're subliminally putting it in their head. Who knows? You might get offers galore. That's it. Oh, happy day. Who cares? Who cares? But you don't, excuse me, and you don't want to fall into the trap like most realtors a year ago did. Whatever they said, and they took it and put a sign in the yard. A lot of them got away with it. Guess what's going to happen by the end of this year? Well, by the end of this year, beginning of the first quarter, most of them are going to be gone because they don't know how to take a listing the right way now, unfortunately. Okay. All right. So I don't know if you guys can still hear me.
Yes,
Yeah,
Okay. If there are no further questions, my video is locked, but my audio is still good. That's it for today. If you need help, you know where to find me.
thank you.
every morning I do. Thank you.
You can
Thank you,
find me
Ronnie.
after the morning. Don't worry about
I
it.
just love that group.
All right.
Thank you, Ronnie, so much. I appreciate you posting that early bird so that we can get on.
Absolutely. You guys take care. I'll see you in the morning.
Thanks.
Thanks, Ronnie.
Bye-bye.
Thanks. Thank you, Ronnie.
You're welcome. I just keeps locking up.